A brief history of Lao Sai in Singapore. In 2009, during a holiday in northern China, I caught a mild case of dysentery from eating unclean food. Though mild by historical standards, it was still the most painful experience of my coddled life thus far. For about 2 weeks, I squatted over a toilet for 15 to 20 times a day, legs shaking, slightly delirious. By the end, the diarrhea had turned into a reddish, mucus-like cappuccino froth, while the pain in my arsehole was so intense that I wedged my head against the toilet paper dispenser to distract from what felt like a gradual disemboweling down south. I cursed God, the restaurant, and then President Hu Jintao. I swore that I would never again visit this fucking provincial backwater called Beijing. Never was I more happy to land at Changi, with its pristine bathrooms and constantly cleaned water coolers, its promise of sanitation and sanity. Of course, Changi and Singapore wasn't always this way. Years later, whilst reading James Francis Warren's classic history Rickshaw Coolie, I was struck by the story of 1800s rickshaw puller and fellow dysentery victim Leong Ko Long, who was so agonized that he slashed himself with a razor. Not to suggest that my misery was on par with his, but I sort of understand why. The pain can be so great that any distraction would be welcome, even a secondary pain. Changi was also, of course, the site of the infamous World War II internment camp, where thousands of POWs suffered from dysentery. Lacking medicine or proper food, many would die as the incessant diarrhea left them weak and utterly malnourished. School-taught social studies is a fairly sanitised affair. We learn about Britain, LKY, and the paramount importance of free trade. We also learn about food and the origins of chicken rice. However, what comes out is just as important as what goes in, because Singapore's history is also a fecal history of dysentery, nightsoil, quacks, and more. In short, it's a story of shit. Raffles might have his name on a hotel, but it is Lao Sai that made Singapore what it is today. In Singapore's early days, diarrheal diseases were dismayingly rampant. The big three were cholera, the Blue Death, dysentery, the bloody flux, and acute gastroenteritis, of the variety which still afflicts shoddy food establishments.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?